as predefined words and also called as standard words. So in C language we have totally 32 standard words. Of course, this is also called keywords or reserved words. Reserved words are the words which there are predefined words which are not redefined. So we have no permission to change the spelling or meaning or purpose, anything. We have to follow that. For example, integer, INTEG or integer. We have to write the int. Then only the compile will we understand. That means we cannot change the spelling or purpose or meaning, everything. That is a standard words. That is a predefined words. That is predefined words. See here, the bold words are printed in this slide. These are used in control statements. They change the otherwise sequential execution of the assignment statements in a function block. In generally, the programming will execute it one after another, sequential manner. So when we are going to use this control statements, so automatically we can change as per our convenience. For example, assignment statements. Assigning means giving the values to any variable. We can assign the value to variable in different modes. For example, we can assign a value directly. We can assign a value to the variable, or variable to variable. That means already the assigned variable, which is a content of the variable. So already that is stored. Though that means we can assign the value to variable directly, or variable to variable, or expression to variable, or equation to variable in any manner. That means a expression or equation, and finally it evaluates, and finally the value will be assigned to the variable. In different manners we can assign the value to the variable. So here the block of the statements. Next one, block means block. So here statements are the simple statements and compound statements and conditional control statements. And then previously slide we can discuss about the iterative, repetitive statements. So many statements are there. The statements, block of statements or sequence of statements, that is nothing but programming. We have to write in these statements in a logical manner or a meaningful manner. See here, block of statements or compound statements are there. So what are the statements? It is embedded in braces or brackets. So that is called as block of statements. If there is no brackets and the beginning of the block and end of the block, these statements are purely individual. So when I are going to use the block of the statements, it will comes under only one block of the statement. That's also called as compound statement. See here example, constant integer max equal to 11. That is a constant value that does not change throughout the program. Integer order number, integer bin number. So these are the both variables are the integer. Printf, enter order number. So that is the comment while inputting the program, that will be displayed in the screen. And scanf, so ampersand order number. That means while scanf, this is our input statement, it is asking the operator to enter the value for order number. The operator have to give the value through the keyboard. So order number already feed through the keyboard, and bin number equal to order mod max. So that it will be, that is expression, that is evaluate and final number to the bin number. Print bin number. That is the sequence of the statements. This is the block of the statements. See here, if statement. The if statement is use it to carry out a logical test, and then take one of two possible actions depending on the outcome of the test. Here we can have the so many if statements, that is simple if statement and if else statement and the nested if statements, like that. We have so many statements. Here we this is the simple if statements. So if statement is if is the reserved word among the 32 reserved words. This is the reserved word also. If always the test condition, so that is here, so a number not equal to 1000, that is a test condition. Test condition is always tested by the if statement. The test condition that should be always enclosed in the parenthesis. That is the rule in the C language. The test condition should be enclosed in the parenthesis, that is the brackets. If the test condition is true, count a plus will be executed. That means whatever in the bracket, that is the test condition. If the test condition is true, the very next line followed by the if statement will be executed. Otherwise, that means if the test condition is false, the controls will be skips the statement. That means this is the only one possibility. If the condition is true, the statement will be executed. That is here the example, count a plus will be executed when it is true. If the test condition is false, that is skips the statement. That is a skip statement. That means count a plus will not be executed. It will not be executed. That will jumps. Here only one possibility. Here it is only one possibility. So this is the syntax of the simple if statement. And we have if statement, bracket, within the bracket test condition, here statement. That's all. It's very simple. That's all. If the test condition is true, the statement where next line followed by the if statement will be executed. Otherwise it just skips the statement. See here one more if statement. Here is one more statement. In previous example, below the if statement or test condition, only one statement is there. Here two statements are there. If a value less than or equal to 10, printf answer is a value, count b plus plus n. See, print statement and count b plus plus, both statements are embedded in braces, that is brackets. That means that is the block of the statements. This is also called as the compound statements. So if there is no brackets, of course, if there is no compound statements, if a value less than or equal to 10 is the test condition. If the test condition is true, print statement and count b plus plus, both statements will be executed when it is true. When it is false, when the test condition is false, it skips the print statement and it reads only count b plus plus only. When there is no block of the statements, when there is no compound statement, I am telling. When there is no compound statement, if the test condition is true, print statement, count b plus plus, both statements will be executed. If the condition is false, the print statement will not be executed and the statement will be skipped, and next it will count b plus statement will be executed. Okay, that is the syntax of if statement. So when you are going to use the brackets, begin and end, block of the statements or compound statements, these are all comes under only one statement, that is compound statement. So when the test condition is true, So whatever in the brackets, print statement and count b plus b, both statement will be executed. So when the condition is false, it completely skips the compound statements, and print statement, count b plus both statements are not executed. That means when we are going to use the compound statements, brackets, begin and brackets, if it is true, both statements, print and count b plus b will be executed. If the condition is false, it's complete skips the compound statement, and both statements, that is print and count b plus both statements are not executed. So that is the difference between the with the compound statements and without compound statements. So this is all called the block of the statements. Here, if else statements, we are having the two possibilities. If the condition is true, one is the possibility. If the condition is false, this is the possibility. So this is the difference from the simple if statements. Simple if statements having only true block only. There is no false block. Automatically it will skips the statement. So whereas if else statement, it is having the two possibilities. One possibility is the true block, and one more second possibility is the else block. The if else statement is used to carry out a logical test and then take one of two possible actions depending on the outcome of the test. That means where the outcome is true or false. See here example, if a value less than or equal to 10, that is the test condition, and print statement, count b plus plus are the enclosed in the brackets, that is a true block. Else means otherwise. What otherwise? If the test condition is true, else means test condition is not true, that is false. So print statement and count c plus plus is the else statement, else block. So below the if statement is called as if block, and below the else statement called as else block. Also called as below the if statement, also called as if block or true block. In same way here also, else below the else block is else block or false block. See here example, within the brackets, a value less than or equal to 10 is the test condition. If the test condition is true, true block will be executed. What is the true block? Print statement and count b plus plus. That is only that block will be executed. It never comes to the else block when it is true. So when the test condition becomes false, it directly comes to the else block. That means print statement and count c plus plus. The both statements are else, because it never goes to the true block. Here we have two possibilities. When the test condition is true, completely compulsory true block will be executed. When the condition becomes false and compulsory, it will comes to the false block. So this is the main difference between the simple if statement and the if else statement. If the condition specified in the if statement evaluates to true, the statements inside the if block are executed, and then control gets transferred to the statements immediately after the if block. Even if the condition is false and no else block is present, that means it will not go to the else block. Control gets transferred to the statement immediately after the if block. It will go to the next part of the programming. The else part is required only if a certain sequence of the instructions needs to be executed if the condition evaluates to false. It is important to note that a condition is always specified in parentheses, that means brackets, and that is good practice to enclose the statement in the if block or the else block in braces. That is the braces means that is the block of the statements. So whether it is a single statement or a compound statement. Okay, the Okay, and this is the difference. And one more statement is a nested statement, nested if statement, nested if statement. Nested if statement, that is the more than two possibilities. Here we discussing about the simple if statement and if else statement and nested if statement. Simple if statement we are having the only one possibility, and if else statement we are having the two possibilities, whereas a nested if statement having the more than two possibilities. More than two possibilities. That is, it is also possible to embed or to nest if else statement one within the other statement. That's a nested means the if statement within the if statement, the complete if statement within the one more statement. That is the if statement within the if statement is called as nested if statement. Nesting is useful in situations where one of several different courses of action need to be selected, one or more than one. The during the execution of a nested if statement, as soon as a condition is encountered which evaluates to true, the statements associated with the particular if block will be executed, and the remainder of the nested if else statement will be bypassed. If neither of the conditions are true, either the last else block is executed, or if the else block is absent, the control gets a transfer to the next instruction present immediately after the else if ladder. Okay. Here see the example. If a value equal to 1, count a plus b. Else if this means else if second if statement within the first if statement else block, and the third if statement is within the second else block, like that. So if evaluate a value equal to 1, count a plus plus. Else if a value equal to 10, count b plus plus. Else if a value equal to 100, count c plus plus. Else count d plus plus. That means if it is false, next go to the second if statement. The second if statement is false, it will go to say third if statement. Then like that it will goes on the executed. That means it's having a more than two possibilities. Like that. So switch statement also called as select statement. Switch statement. That means we can select one statement among the several statements. That is switch statement. Switch is nothing but select statement. A switch statement is used for a multiple way selections that will branch into different code segments based on the value of a variable expression. This expression or variable must be integer data type. See here example, switch within the bracket a number. A number must be the integer or character. The both integer or character accepts. Other than integer or characters, the switch statement will not be accepted. Why? Because integer it occupies only 2 bytes memory, and character it occupies only single byte. That's why it will not accept the big memory blocks like that. The value of expression is either generated during the program executed or read in as user input. The case whose value is the same as that of the expression is selected and executed. The optional default label is used to specify the code segment be executed when the value of expression does not match with any of the case value. Also, the break default and break case default, case, switch, break. The four words are the reservoirs. Switch is the reservoir, and case is the reservoir, and default is the reservoir, and break is the reservoir. See here, and rose color marks. Switch, case, default, break. These are reservoirs. Reservoirs means that's whose spelling and purpose and meaning already explained to the C compiler. While compiling up the statements, the compiler will not ask the what is switch and what is case and what like that. So these words are not user defined words. These words are the reservoirs. The compiler knows already, right? The break statement is present at the end of every case. If it was not so, the execution would continue on into the code segment of the next case unnecessarily without even checking the case value. For example, switch statement have 5 cases and the value of the third case matches in the value expression. If there is no break statement, that means if there is no break statements in between the cases, if the break statements absence is in case of block to block, if the break statement is absence, if there is no break statement between the block and block, all the cases after case 3 would also get executed along with the case 3. If break is present, only the required case is selected and executed, after which the control gets transferred to the next statement immediately after the switch statement. There is no break after default case. After the default case is the control will either way to get transferred to the next statement immediately after the switch. Here switch within the bracket a number it's having some number 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 like that, any number. If a within the a number that is integer number, it's having the 1, case 1 will be executed. Case 1 will be that means it will match the case 1. It match the case 1, and opposite the case 1 count a C out. That will be printed. Next break. So as soon as reads the break statement, reads the break statement and controls immediately, it will come out of the switch construction, switch statement. If there is no break statement in between the blocks, after execution of the count a plus plus, and unnecessarily it will go to the count b plus plus and count c plus plus and count e plus. All the blocks will be executed unnecessarily. All blocks will be hit. So the concept of the switch statement is when the which case is suitable or match, then only the block will be executed, the entire block will be executed, and after as soon as reads the break statement, it should be come out of the switch construction. So that is the meaning of or useful of the break statement. That is a benefit of using the break statement in the switch statement. So if all cases, case 1, case 10, case so on, if all cases will fail, matches will fail, and finally it will comes to the default statement. In switch statement is also the more than one possibility. If case 1 is false, it will case not match, it will come to the case 2. If case 2 is not suitable, it will come to the third one, fourth one, like that will all will come. If all cases will matches will fail, and then finally it will comes to the default. final color default. After default, there is no use to you write the break statement. So automatically after default, that is at the end of the switch statement. Okay. This is a very basic program that explains the working the switch case construction. Depending upon the number, what number, a number got out in the bracket, depending upon the number entered by the user, the appropriate case is selected and executed. For example, that number is 5. The number input number is 5. Then case will be executed. If the input number is 10, case 1 will not be executed. It will come to the next case 10. Okay, only case 10 will be executed. If the break statement is present after case 10, it will pass execution switch statement. After case 10, it controls will get transferred to the next statement after switch. Okay. If there is no break statement after case 10, it automatically it will case to the case 100. In our example, case 100 and 500, like that, all the blocks will be executed. It is also possible to embed compound statements inside the case of switch statement. These compound statements may contain control structures. Thus, it is also possible to have nested switch by embedding the inside a case. We can write one more switch statement in this statement. All program written using the switch case statement can also be written using the if else statement. However, it makes good programming sense to use the if statement when you need to take some action after evaluating some simple or complex condition, which may involve a combination of relational logical expressions. Okay. If you need to select among a large group of values, a switch statement will run much faster than a set of nested ifs. The switch differs from the if, in that switch can also test for equality, whereas if we can evaluate any type of Boolean expressions. The switch statement must be used when one needs to make a choice from a given set of choices. The switch case statement is generally used to menu based applications like menu 1.1 student marks report, 2 student examination branch, 3 office work, like that. That is menu based. The most common use of switch case statements in a data handling or file parsing. Most of the handling involves the common functions, creating a file, adding records, deleting records, updating records, printing entire file, or some selective records. Okay. Switch statement may be used in data handling. It does not involve the code for file parsing, as we can discuss. Of course, file handling in C only after we have the advanced concepts. Okay, pointer structures and so we can discuss in that slides.